Hello my friends. Well, what can I say? Today is the big day. The armada of the Russian tankers was flatlined completely by Ukrainian drone army. Magyar published this video where there is the confirmation of at least 8 of the tankers being kaputted, plus cargo vessel and also 1 more ferry. So altogether 10 freaking ships per one night. Just for you to understand, this is just the complete annihilation of the Russian shadow fleet and their logistics. Let's watch this video all together. Just yesterday, 2 of the tankers were hit, yeah, I showed you them, and they were added to the list, I guess. Well, more to come. And you see, this is the armada of those tankers, so it's not the last time they're burning. This is crazy, guys. And it happened like this night, yeah, very fresh video. You see, drone flies, it looks like it overflies the ship, but no, it dives down and hits precisely. We have one more confirmation from the side, from the other drone, yeah, and there is the second strike on the same tanker. So you see, drone flies, but next it dives down very sharply and hits the vessel. And it's gone. Kairos was hit 2 times and it is burning. It's freaking SOS multiple of the times yesterday in this Azov Sea. This is the second tanker that was hit. Also the drone, kaboom, is visible. Jeez, this is, guys, it has never been like that since, I guess, Second World War. I mean, the number of the ships kaputted per single operation. Before, those were usually submarines, but Ukraine uses drone technologies to do it. And Ukraine operates in so-called Russian-controlled Azov Sea. Yeah, Russian-controlled. We see how it's being controlled. So no air defense, nothing. There were just some of the soldiers, probably with AK rifles, and that's it. Guys, do I have any words to comment what is happening? I'm shocked. This is the demolishment of the month, for sure, if not of this year. Well, the refinery yesterday was hit in Omsk, but this is also happening. This is the huge blow to the Russian shadow fleet. Even though those tankers are not big, yeah, those are just river-sea tankers, but still they were exporting oil. And they were also used for the supplies of Crimean Peninsula. Well, now not any longer. You see, one after another. And just imagine the thoughts of those seamen on those ships, like the drones are flying, everything is kabooming all around, the loud bangs in the night skies. I think it was a really interesting experience for them. And I think the good variant for them is to hide deep inside some of the machine compartment, because if they're outside, they could be exposed for debris and so on. So the strikes continue, one after another, one after another. This is already the 7th tanker that was kaputted there, and many more. Yeah, maybe some of the tankers are being damaged, but those are not the military ships. They don't have any sort of the armor protection or something, so they're disabled. As commercial vessels, they will not be capable to deliver any sort of the goods. And this is the cargo vessel. This is not the tanker that was hit as well. Wow. And this is interesting. You see the new aiming equipment Ukraine shows. It's not FP2, it's not FP1, this is something else, maybe also machine vision. And I'm also surprised that Russians have this kind of the big ferry left. I think they shipped it maybe from Baltic Sea or some other place in Russia. This one is huge and capable to carry even trains. But Ukraine cancelled it, and that's how it was. Drone flies and enters the command post. So Magyar published this video on his channel. It's available on my Telegram, it's available on Magyar's channel, on his social media, and basically those are the breaking news of the day. Fantastic and I would say crazy. Never ever Russia sustained so many losses for their ships. Commercial ships, yes, tankers per single day. And you know, at the very beginning we saw many more of those ships, yeah? So 8 for now, but soon it's gonna be more. My friends, just a short reminder, as usual, don't forget to press like to this video and subscribe for the channel. It matters a lot. And obviously, if you can, you may support my job on Patreon. The link for it is in the video description right below, or join membership of the channel by pressing button join. Thank you guys, you are amazing. Without your support, my job wouldn't be possible. So thank you, and let's continue with the video. Those smaller tankers, they're also important because Russia transfers the oil from them to the bigger tankers, whitewashing Russian production and the Russian export, which is not that hard to chase, let's be honest, but our partners are closing their eyes on what is happening very close, by the way, to the Greece coast. It's the hot spot for transferring of Russian oil from one tanker to another. The oil goes from the Black Sea then to Mediterranean and for the further transfer. And somehow Russia stored those tankers in Azov Sea, which is kind of close to Ukraine. Well, the outcome you just saw. I think that Ukraine kaboomed at least half of that armada. It was the textbook implementation of those sanctions, and they work the best. We see also how they work on Russian refineries. Russia has the fuel crisis not because of the sanctions implemented by the Western world. No, it's because they're losing the physical capabilities to produce that fuel on their refineries, and that's how Ukraine will stop Russia. Physically stop on the front lines by cutting logistics, by closing the feed for the Russian military budget, kabooming the oil infrastructure. So everything of that has been done by Ukraine mostly. Yes, sanctions as they are from European Union and others, they work. But the outcome is not visible right away. You have to wait several years, and there are bypass mechanisms Russia introduced together with their partners, like for example China and India. You see that even under sanctions, Russia is capable to trade, and they export now more oil to India than before. So something should be done to physically cancel Russian oil export. Before, Ukraine concentrated efforts on oil ports, and now it is switching to tankers themselves, to kaboom them absolutely massively. The goal for Ukraine is to make the operation with the Russian oil very risky for the foreign companies and also internal Russian companies. There are huge risks now, for example, for Russia to deliver supplies to Crimea, so the same variant applies for the sea fleet. And Ukraine is good in it. We'll see the reaction from the Russian side. The news about the Russian tanker losses have just been published. And, well, there will be no official reaction, I guess, from Peskov and Putin directly on this particular attack. But Russian Z military channels, they will tell something. Well, maybe Russians might comment that officials, like Ukraine, perform one more terror attack on Russian civilian infrastructure, something like that. But Russian official propaganda will not tell, of course, about the scale of the losses. They will tell, oh, those were just small drones, caused some of the scratches to those ships, something like that. Our Russian military bloggers already shared the same images, and they say that enemy has intensified its efforts to destroy tankers that transport fuel to Crimea via Azov Sea. Well, I guess not all of the oil tankers were transporting something to Crimea. Some of them may be, but not all. I think it's the part of the Russian general oil export. If yesterday footage of the destruction of 2 ships was published, now attacks have been carried out on 8 tankers, 1 bulk carrier and 1 ferry at once. So totally for 2 days Russia lost 12 ships. Yeah, here they mention names. I think it's not very important, the names of the ship. The organization of this tanker voyage from our side is typical. A defenseless, dense mass of the ship in the middle of the sea. Okay, which is the target for Ukrainian drone operators of FP1 and FP2 drones. There is neither cover from the Black Sea fleet ships, which have long been barely able to protect themselves, nor fire groups of the ships themselves. Jeez, this is the Russian channel, Russian Z channel military informant, and they're saying like that, exactly what I'm telling you. If earlier Ukraine smashed the convoys of the tanks and armored vehicles, now it seems like it's time for ships, vessels and tankers. Yep, Russians, it's time, and Russian military bloggers, they don't understand how those vessels, like, they were packed at the same area of the sea, big sea, quite big. Yeah, Azov is still a sea. You may send one ship, then the other one. Well, it's more safe, I guess. But they packed all together, no air defense, nothing, no any turret ships, no boats even with the turrets. And Ukrainian drone operators, it's like an easy prey for them. They just fly, okay, the ship, let's kaboom the ship, let's kaboom another one and another. And if it goes like that, Ukraine will just demolish the Russian oil export completely from entire Black Sea. Because FP2 drones, you saw, yeah, from yesterday's strike on Omsk, which is 2,500 kilometers away from Ukraine. So Ukraine covers vast territories of Russia, not even saying about the Black Sea and occupied regions of Crimea, for example, or the Russian port of Novorossiysk, where the Russian Navy is trapped. And yeah, in the morning there was the hint from the NASA satellites that something is burning in the Azov Sea, like detection, yeah? Maybe it is the glitch in the program, but actually, no. Those were the real ships on fire. So firms gives exact precise information of the fire origin, very good satellites and software they have. And for example, we have the report that Greek shipping companies made $4 billion shipping Russian oil in past 3 years. And those are just official figures, yeah? What is happening behind the curtains? Unofficially, with the shadow fleet pumping oil from one tanker to another, so it's a big problem. The companies like Dinakan Tankers, Onassis Group, Stealth Marine and Polembros Shipping also earned like hundreds of millions each, and totally 4 billion. This is outrageous, and this is happening, guys. They want to have business with Russia as usual. And just recently, Callan Robertson went to his home country, Ireland, where there is a refinery, alumina refinery, working to supply this component for Russia, where Russia produces aluminum, and from that material they're building their drones, aviation, and so on. So cooperation is ongoing between Europe and Russia, openly even. You don't need to be a detective, you just need to check out the open source information. That's what Callan did. Interview some of the officials and not just officials, and voila, you have the picture of the corruption in Europe, which is bad. That's why I'm saying that the sanctions are just partially working. The actual sanctions are kinetic ones, and Ukraine does it every day. And here you see the past tense, made, so past, what has happened. But they're doing it even now. They're earning their dirty money from Russia. That's what they do. Right, all signs are saying that the situation in Omsk after Ukrainian strike is getting critical. You may check it out. So top line, that's the main gas station there, and this is the original image. It's just the translation, auto-translate. Top line is the largest gas station chain in Omsk, has completely stopped selling gasoline to individuals. Cars are arriving every minute, but they can't fill up. The oil refinery also stopped dispensing fuel today, according to journalists. The Omsk refinery is the largest target in Russia, processing 21 million tons of oil per year. Yes, as I mentioned to you yesterday, this refinery is outstanding and it is reachable by Ukraine, which is fantastic. And we already have the satellite images coming from this complex telling and confirming that the most sensitive part of the infrastructure, those distillation plants, were hit by Ukraine. So this is the biggest one, and definitely it was damaged in several of the places. There were at least 6 of the strikes, as reported. Russian is saying that we have a problem in Omsk with the diesel fuel. The video is dated from today. The guy is working in the field as the farmer for the local, some of the company, and their boss already told them that they should limit the use of vehicles, of tractors for agriculture, because they don't know how deep the crisis could be. And Russia exports fuel refined from the Russian oil, from India, for example, from other neighboring countries. About Kazakhstan, by the way, Russia wants to get that fuel to them, but it's enough just for half a day of operation of Russia. And according to the information coming from Kazakh officials, they are not yet into this deal. So the fuel has not yet been supplied to Russia. So they cannot now prepare the fields for agriculture, especially now the preparation for the next year should be done. So now they put the efforts to harvest what they have, what is grown, but the soil preparation for next harvest is being cancelled for now. And this is Omsk once again from yesterday, further perspective. So there's the fire queues in front of the gas stations, and the situation, yeah, it's not really great for Russians. There is the huge fuel crisis, it's not going well. This is the morning in Moskovskaya Oblast, so the Moscow region of the Russian Federation. Some of the drones were spotted. Well, not exactly over Moscow, but Ukrainian drones are flying every day, hundreds of those, towards the Russian territory and deep inside Russia, as we know already. The Russian Panzer S-1. No, it's not in Belgrade, it's not in Omsk, it's in Moscow. Right on the highway. This is it. This is what Putin protects. So idea for Ukraine was to strike refinery in Moscow, also St. Petersburg, and Putin went to the scared mode. He deployed all of the possible air defense to Moscow. And here we go. Ukraine strikes Omsk. Putin even took his yacht out of St. Petersburg because he afraid to lose it. He evacuated his vessel right before the start of the war from Italy, and it was all the time in St. Petersburg, but just a few days ago, under military convoy, it was escorted further to Murmansk. Yes, the military convoy escorted this vessel, 2 of the military ships. The ships equipped with the air defense systems, anti-submarine protection, anti-drone protection, but Russian tankers in Azov Sea, they don't need that stuff. Putin's yacht needs that. And it was spotted in the Baltic Sea because it's the only way for the vessel to reach Murmansk port. And probably the military convoy was needed for the vessel not being detained by our partners, because Sweden before they captured few of the Russian ships, Shadow Fleet tankers. Some of them are not registered in Russia, of course, most of them, but they were captured. Or it's better to say arrested or detained. Also, anti-drone net was spotted on Putin's yacht. Yeah. Well, at least it looks like the anti-drone net, I'm not sure. The yacht name is graceful and it has the helicopter landing spot even on the back. And I see, yeah, it's definitely the drone protection. And that's the convoy itself, one military ship and the other one. This one is also military, surveillance ship. It just painted in different color. And the vessel. As an every dictator, Putin first of all protects his arse. He doesn't care about Russians. For him, those are just cannon fodder. And Zelensky is already in Ankara. He went there for the NATO summit. He says that we have completely eliminated the very idea of Russia having a strategic rear. So before Russia could safely keep military production, military equipment and everything its war depends on, believing no one could reach them, but Ukraine does it actually for the first time. Well, if it takes several centuries, no one bombed Omsk, yeah, no one was capable to reach Omsk. And we have reached them. Just yesterday, Ukrainian drones broke through Russia's defenses and struck Russian oil refinery in Siberia. And this is not an exception. It's the new reality, and there is no major oil refinery left in Russia that has not yet been struck by Ukraine. I think the strike was made especially before the summit of NATO to show the success of Ukraine. Well guys, it's all I want to tell in this video. I don't want to make it kind of long, but I will film one more today, so stand by. And thank you guys for your kind support on Patreon. The link for it is just in the video description below. Without your support, my job wouldn't be possible. So Patreon and membership of YouTube channel, you may join by pressing button join. Those are 2 tools which are driving me to film content every day. So thank you so much. My friends, also don't forget to press your like to this video and subscribe for the channel. It matters a lot. I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are and have a great time.